everybody, and welcome back. This is SaberX coming to you live with another Beasts of the Mesozoic Tyrannosaur series review. And today we are going to be looking at the 1/18th scale Bistahieversor sealeyi by Creative Beast Studio and David Silva. So here we are. There's our incredible Tyrannosaur figure. And before we look at this figure, let's take a look at the packaging for it, shall we? So here we have our packaging for the Beasts of the Mesozoic Bistahieversor. And yeah, it's just absolutely incredible. The artwork on the front is done by Raul Ramos, as with so many figures in the Beasts of the Mesozoic series. Yeah, and in the case of the Tyrannosaur series, there have been multiple contributing artists. Now, inside, you can see there is a background piece of cardboard, which you can place behind your figure if you want it to have a nice little diorama behind it. And, of course, inside the box, you also get, along with your figure, this beautiful collector card, which has Raul Ramos's art on it, and an obligatory product shot of the Tyrannosaur on the back, with all the information on it in detail. You also get the ever-important instructions, which are necessary to safely assemble your Tyrannosaur figure. For the joint at the base of the tail, you are going to want to use a hairdryer or hot water to heat the socket inside the tail for like 1 to 2 minutes before you pop it on, because otherwise you could risk breaking your figure. Or if you're not careful, you could break your figure. Now, the other thing that is ever important with this is that you also have to make sure when you're heating up, when you're flexing your figure around, that you have to heat up the joints so that you don't risk breaking your figure either. Very, very important. I had a little scare earlier today when I had this happen for the Bistahieversor, but it turns out that the joint for the ankle was meant to actually prevent that by just popping out. It's basically like a little claw that fits inside the ankle joint, but I'll go more into depth on that later. But yeah, these instructions are very important so that you don't break your figure, and I do recommend reading them before you actually assemble it. But flipping over to the back side of the box for the Bistahieversor, you again get that obligatory product shot. You get information about the dinosaur on the back, and of course you get to see the other members of the Wave 2 Tyrannosaurs lineup for the Beasts of the Mesozoic. And so that's that. Now let us go back to talking about the figure itself. So here is our glorious Bistahieversor sealeyi, and I have to tell you, this is my favorite, my absolute favorite Tyrannosaur for Wave 2. Hands down, it is the most beautiful, in my opinion. It is also one of the most... it is one of the most awesome looking of all time, in my opinion as well. The coloration for this Tyrannosaur is based off a real snake called a red-bellied black snake, which is from Australia, not to be confused with the harmless red-bellied snake of North America, which I've actually handled. I'd tell you the story, but we'd be here forever. But red-bellied black snakes are a highly venomous species from Australia, and this coloration scheme really works for Bistahieversor because it is it was an equally deadly dinosaur, and honestly, I could see this being the male of the species, just very brightly colored, and he's like, hey, look at me, I'm big, I'm mean, and I'm a successful hunter. But I genuinely can't imagine this dinosaur not looking like this now, because the color scheme is just so good. And taking this figure off his stand, because he does have some problems standing up on his own. Not his fault, but yeah, sometimes the balance is a little off depending on the individual figure. But taking him off his stand, you can see all these beautiful transitioning patterns into the red and the cream color of the underbelly, plus the, yeah, just the blue eyes, just absolutely gorgeous. And I love how the mouth is actually kind of a more purple color than pink. It's just very, very pretty. And it works so well for this dinosaur. Now, the other cool thing about this particular dinosaur figure is that, yeah, it just really, really looks realistic, and it has a good range of motion as well, which we will get into right now. So, the neck can move left, well, or I should say right, about that far, with the head going about maybe that far. Same thing for when you can move it left. The jaws can open and shut like this, and he shuts his mouth nicely. So you can have beautiful range of movement. Head can go up about this high, like so, down about like this. Doesn't have a lot of down movement, but he has some down movement in his torso, like about that far. He can go up about that far, and he can also do torso right and left. Now, he also has movement in his arms, so shoulders can rotate a full 360, like so, though I wouldn't recommend it. Arms can move out about that far, you can bend like that, in, out, wrists move, and you can swivel them, though I just recommend posing them like this, because this is actually how dinosaur hands are actually meant to look, palms facing inward, because that's actually accurate. Dinosaurs cannot pronate their hands like people can. And so Jurassic Park was wrong in that regard, for anyone who understands that. The legs can move about, I would say about this far forward, this far back, and I don't try to stress it, because there is a possibility they could either pop out or break the joints, and I have heated up those joints to try and get them a little looser, but I don't want to push it. Now, the tail also moves about this, has quite a range of motion. It can move this far to the right, same distance to the left. It can go up about this high, down like this. Oh dear. Popped off the end piece of the tail, but thankfully, ball and socket joint pops right back on. And then the tail, the end tail piece, the last third, has a wire in it, so you can actually pose that however you want. And it looks absolutely phenomenal. Now, he does also come with spare legs as well. And if I were to pop off one of these legs, like so, which you can do just by pulling out, you can also put on this extra leg right here, and it does sit tightly in. Now this leg has, this particular ankle has a unique malformation, I think, where it just doesn't bend all the way forward like I would want it, but it can bend about that far back, that far forward. The foot on his joint does have some swivel and bend, but in this case, this particular foot, this particular ankle has something odd going on with it, where I don't think the joint can go all the way through it. I'm not sure why, but maybe that can be fixed. Maybe I just need to order a replacement moving leg for that. I don't know, but just something to keep an eye on. But yeah. Yeah, he's got quite a bit of movement in the knee in this leg as well. So he can bend about that far back, that far forward. So you can have a nice range of movement, if you so choose to. And of course, being a beast of the Mesozoic Tyrannosaur, he has a peg for his feet that you can pop on to his foot like so. Oh, and that'll just allow him to stand up. Now, the other cool thing is, moving away from the figure, he also has this beautiful base, which is basically just a repaint of the Eutyrannus base and the Dryptosaurus base. Basically just the same, but yeah, very nicely colored. Now, he also, in addition to these other legs, alternate legs, he also comes with alternate feet, which include a set of running mid-stride toes and these mid-step toes. So basically, hey, as he's moving, he looks like he's really booking. And if I was to pop one of these back on, yeah, if I was to pop one of these back on, yeah, he would you could do a lot with his range of motion in that regard. But popping back on the original standing leg, which fits nicely in here like so. Yeah, Bistahieversor is definitely one of the coolest tyrannosaurs in the lineup. This animal comes from the Kirtland and Fruitland formations in New Mexico, which is in the United States. And it's a relatively new tyrannosaur, so not a lot is known about it compared to its more famous cousins like Tyrannosaurus rex. But it is well known enough that we actually have a good understanding of its biology. It was once mistaken for a species of Daspletosaurus because it is similar enough that they could be mistaken for one another if you don't understand the differences in their biology. This animal could grow to about 30 feet long, and so at 16 inches or 1/18 scale, this would probably be about a 20 to 25 foot specimen, which is about average size that is for this species, I would think. And it would have lived alongside some of the more unusual dinosaurs that also inhabited the same formation, including the giant Pentaceratops, which I will show you in comparison to this beautiful Tyrannosaur. So here is Pentaceratops for scale with our Bistahieversor. And as you can see, there is a huge disparity in size. The Bistahieversor is pretty much longer, if not about the same size, but Pentaceratops is genuinely massive compared to the Tyrannosaur. It's just absolutely massive. And it would have also lived alongside another Tyrannosaur we don't have good skeletons for, as well as early representatives of the genus Alamosaurus. In other words, a sauropod. Beyond that, Bistahieversor also shared its habitat with ankylosaurs such as Nodocephalosaurus and hadrosaurs such as Critosaurus and Parasaurolophus. So there was quite a diverse array of animals for it to hunt. And yeah, it definitely would have been one of the top predators of its time. But yeah, definitely one of the more unusual tyrannosaurs out there. And yeah, definitely a creature that you wouldn't want to come across. Now, in regards to price, yeah, this particular figure was about $90, but I actually got him on sale for a discount at creativebeast.com because I had saved up enough points for him. And I have to tell you, this guy exceeded all my expectations. Yeah, just absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, comparing him to some of the other beasts of the Mesozoic tyrannosaurs, here he is with Eutyrannus. And of course, Bistahieversor is so big that it's hard to get him in the frame with this Eutyrannus. But yeah, you can see, even without their stands, they do scale pretty well to one another. They are the same length. Bistahieversor is a little shorter at the neck, just because he doesn't have that bulky feather array around his neck, but yeah, he is of similar size. Here it is with one of the 12-inch tyrannosaurs, in this case, Xianzhusaurus. And as you can see, Xianzhusaurus, aka Pinocchio Rex, definitely is a fair bit smaller than Bistahieversor. And just to showcase how small it is compared to Bistahieversor, here is Guanlong. As you can see, this is 1/18 scale to one another, so these are accurately scaled. Guanlong is about 10 feet long, and Bistahieversor is 25 to 30 feet long. So this is pretty fair sized in regards to comparisons with one another. But yeah, you can see, definitely one of the bigger tyrannosaurs. Not the biggest, not like T-Rex, which I will not compare it to, because T-Rex at the 1/18 scale is so big and heavy, it's hard to get him over here without problems. But yeah, this guy, yeah, Bistahieversor is definitely a fair-sized tyrannosaur, and again, he is absolutely one of my favorites. He was $90 on creativebeast.com. I am very glad that I got him, and for a discount on on creativebeast.com, no less, because I took advantage of one of their sales, plus I had saved up points from purchasing other figures in the toy line. And yeah, definitely a figure worth getting. If you want a very colorful Tyrannosaur that is a little more obscure and new to science, I would definitely recommend getting Bistahieversor. He'd be an excellent conversation piece. He is great for art reference if you want to draw this particular dinosaur. And I actually use these figures for drawing as well. But there's no limit to what you can do with this. You can even use him for photographs, dioramas, anything you want. And if you've got the money to get him, or if you save up, he is well worth your time and energy to get. I cannot recommend him enough. He is absolutely fantastic. And yeah, definitely a figure I'm going to be using quite a bit in some of my art reference drawings and photos. Yeah. So this is SaberX signing off, saying you're never too old to play with toys. Be a toy nerd. Be proud of it. And thank you. Subscribe, like, and comment if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you, and have a good evening. Bye-bye.